Welcome back for another episode of Branching Out with Sierra. In today's episode, we're joined by a brand new guest. Maybe you've never met before. If you're local, you might have seen him out at a chamber event or two. We haven't even known one another that long, but he quickly became my wingman. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about what it means to live the wingman life. And I'm joined by Dr. Eric Rabbit Jorgensen. Hi, Rabbit.
Hey, Sierra.
Welcome.
Thanks
for coming
so excited
in.
to be here. Yeah.
You could be a little more excited.
I could be?
Yeah, that seemed empty.
You told me not to bang the microphone. I usually get excited with my hands.
Okay,
so
you can get excited. If you hit it, it's okay. We'll forgive you. Well, I'm glad you're here. I'm excited to talk a little bit about Wingman Life and how that came to be. But before we do, I'd love for you to share a little bit about your background, where you're from, and what led you to this moment in the green chair.
Wow, yeah. So I'm originally from New York, Long Island, New York. Proud to say I grew up there. It was a great place to grow up. But I left there for graduate school and then joined the Air Force and haven't lived there again. All these years later, spent 26 years in the Air Force, all over the country and overseas in a few places. In fact, Lake Frederick here near Winchester is our 15th address.
15th,
yeah,
wow.
Since my wife and I got married after growing up on Long Island. So we're hoping, that 15 sticks for a little while. Yeah.
That's impressive, and thank you for your service.
Yeah.
I didn't think we'd talk about that at all today.
What's that?
I didn't think we'd talk about that at all today. All right, yeah. I had to slip that in there.
All right.
Okay, so you have an amazing background that you are now running an executive coaching business with, right?
Yeah.
So you're able to kind of bring that background and experience in. And I'm excited to talk about that today because we both have a passion for leadership development. Yeah. And I'm excited to hear some of your perspectives and the leadership principles that really guide you and your decision making and the way you work with your clients. So this is kind of a self-serving episode because it's more time with you to get to know you. But also at the same time, everyone benefits because they're listening too.
Well,
so.
Yeah, thanks. I've been looking forward to talking to you someplace other than on Zoom. So this is great.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this concept of wingman life, not to be confused with wingman life.
Right. That's a thing.
That's a thing. All right. So how did wingman life come to be?
Yeah. So I had the honor of flying fighter jets in the Air Force. It was an incredible experience. The Air Force itself, regardless of the mission type that people might have individually, is such a great team. And the team experience is, I think, really something you can't get anywhere else, And I got to do that for 26 years. And a big part of being a fighter pilot is learning how to be a wingman.
Okay.
Not quite, the way they do it in Top Gun, where the pilots are all competing, to be in charge and the radio calls and a lot of other things in the films are ridiculous, but still fun to watch. But in the real world, wingmen, I think you've heard the term, right? Even outside Top Gun. Wingmen are partners, right? Mm-hmm. Colleagues, but obviously in the military world, it's about life and death. It's about being there for your teammates, learning to follow your flight leads, and then eventually being a flight lead with wingmen of your own. So the application of that experience to leadership and to leadership coaching felt like a no-brainer to me when I finished in the Air Force.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. That transition makes sense. I have to admit, probably the majority of my adult life, I've always heard wingman, like you're going out dating and you bring a
Yes.
wingman along.
Yes.
It's a
Thank
completely
you for bringing
different.
that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been warned by a few close friends that the brand might, have other connotations.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that,
Yeah. But it makes sense for you. Your new website is amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Kate Hayes, a friend and colleague of mine, put it together for me. And I'm really proud of it.
Yeah. No one can be confused about what wingman means.
Right?
If they
I mean,
visit the
dating is
website.
not on there anyway. I mean, you might get the idea you would enjoy dating a fighter pilot, right?
Yeah.
But you got to read between the lines to get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love the concept. It caught my eye right away. It's funny how we ended up meeting. I guess Cynthia sent an email to me saying, "There's this guy that you should probably talk to."
She basically told me the same thing about you. Yeah. Cynthia's great.
Yeah, she is
Cynthia
great.
Schneider. Mm-hmm. Everybody listening knows Cynthia, right?
Well, local people do,
Yeah,
but outside
CEO
of this
of the
area,
chamber.
they don't know.
Chief Encouragement Officer.
Yes, there you go. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, so she connected us because of, our love for leadership development, but I like hearing different ideas, different approaches, leadership styles. So I want to know what Wingman Life looks like in real life, in action, and how people experience that when they work with you.
Yeah. I love that question. I really think of it as a lifestyle. So there's beach life, I guess. There's mountain life. There's lake life. There's wingman life.
Okay.
Right? You see that?
Yeah. Okay.
And I live the wingman life, not just as a former pilot, but I try to live up to those standards in all my relationships, whether it's with family, friends, business colleagues, partners, clients.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the fundamental application of it to my business is that I want to be a wingman for my clients. Mm-hmm. And I tell my clients that they might call me an executive coach, but they're the flight leads in all of our conversations. They're the flight leads choosing their own destinations as leaders and as humans, right? And I'm going to fly alongside them to go where they want to go. Mm-hmm. So that's the wingman concept for my business. And as a coach that sometimes people come to us asking for advice,
that's not
and
coaching.
even for our ideas about solutions to their problems.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I get to kind of embrace the wingman concept and say, I learned as a wingman really not to talk very much. The flight lead does the talking on the radio. The wingman listens and does what he or she is told. Yeah. And stays in position. So I think it's a perfect fit for the kind of coaching that you and I do, where we want our clients to grow because of choices that they make, not because of advice or suggestions that we give to them.
Yeah. No, I agree with that completely, and I always want to make the distinction between the two, because there are times that a client will just very directly say, like, Sierra, what would you do in this situation if this were you? And I always have to give the reminder of, I'm your coach, so are you asking me to take that hat off and you're asking me to put a consulting hat on? Am I a coach, a friend, a consultant now? Because I need clarity. Do you really want me to do that? Because I don't like to.
Well, and the reason we don't like to, right, is because solutions we develop for ourselves are more likely to stick than solutions we get from other
100%.
people. Right?
Yeah.
So having a coach is actually a lot of work, right? Clients might not realize it, and maybe people listening to this don't realize that if they hire you or they hire me as a coach, most of the work is going to be work that they do for themselves, with themselves, on themselves, right?
Yeah.
But that's the kind of work that sticks, right? Solutions we get from other people might help us in the short term, but they're not going to help us in the long term as much.
Well, I like the way that you say like flying alongside them, because I have always been careful with my words about coming alongside someone, not leading them from the front. You know what I mean? Like just the leaders that we're talking to in general, we talk about them having a coaching mindset and coming alongside their teammates, not seeing them as subordinates, right? But supporting them from beside them, not above them. So I like that you phrase it that way when you talk about wingman life, flying alongside them. It just really aligns with my thinking as well.
Yeah, and I love that what I'm trying to do with my clients and what you're describing is really what I believe is the best model for leadership, right? So I'm trying to model to my clients this powerful way of flying alongside their teammates, their subordinates, everybody in their universes, supporting those other people as partners in whatever their enterprise might be, to get to a shared destination instead of dragging people, pushing people, right? That doesn't work with airplanes, and I don't think it really works with human beings either.
No, I don't think it does either. So thinking about going back to the Air Force and that experience, what were the values of the Air Force that were instilled in you, and did that contribute to your idea of leadership?
The actual 3 values, if you're testing me.
I wasn't testing you, but I guess it is now.
Of the Air Force are excellence, integrity, service before self. And so the reason those things are important for the Air Force and really for the military or any enterprise where we're putting our lives on the line together with other people is because when we live up to those values individually, we can trust one another to perform together, right? So that's the kind of person I try to be, even now that I'm, retired from the Air Force. It's the kind of coach I try to be. And again, back to what we were just saying about the leaders we coach, it's the kind of leadership I hope my clients will pick up as their own style. Many of them are doing that, right?
Yeah.
They might not have the words for it,
they don't
but
necessarily
they're doing it
know
already, and they're just working through how to tweak that, how to keep improving as leaders. Those are the kind of people that I love working with, the ones that are all in but realize there's still something more to learn, right? Yeah. Tell me about learnership, because to me, what I'm describing is this word that you use in your business.
Yeah, it's where I combine lifelong learning and leadership skills, because I just believe you can't be an effective leader and be as intentional about your impact on others if you're not also a lifelong learner. So it's the concept of the fact that you just chose to take a trip and go to that event and get additional support and credits and learning, even though you're a great coach as it stands today, but you went because you need to continue your learning, and it will help you to have a greater impact on your clients. So it's just that idea that I just believe in lifelong learning and continuous growth, and I try to model that for others as well. But that's where it kind of came from, is just combining those 2 words together.
Yeah, I love it. And I think, if we can share that in a business or a nonprofit or in a family, that idea that there's still more to learn, right? It just creates a much healthier environment for people.
Yeah.
And I think we do bigger, better things together.
You don't know this, but in last week's episode, when I was highlighting the leader in the spotlight, I identified someone that I just had met last week when I went to do something in Franklin, Virginia. The person that stood out in that group was the individual that had been in the organization the longest. She's 2 years from retirement. She's been there 38 years.
Wow.
You'd think she knows everything there is to know about that credit union, but no, she was the one that was most interested in learning about herself, learning about the others, taking it to the next level. And I just thought that that was just the perfect example of, someone who would have the opportunity to say, I've kind of been doing this for a long time. I think I got it. But no, she was bought in and was making the most of it. So I was just talking about that last week, but it's that same concept.
Because that comes with humility, right? And a leader without humility is somebody I don't really want to work with or for.
Yeah. Or alongside.
Yeah. Or alongside, yeah. But that leader probably isn't asking people to work alongside them.
This is true.
Right? They're asking people to do what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So thinking about the specific values you mentioned, I was just thinking about trust and the amount of trust that you must have with a wingman and vice versa, right? In that relationship. As a fighter pilot, how does trust play into your relationship with a coaching client or a leader with those that they are working alongside?
Yeah. Well, I think trust it has to be baked in, right? Or you end up with leaders and no followers. I think trust is about finding out that somebody you're working with for alongside can be counted on, right? In whatever position they're in, whether it's the most senior position in an organization or the most junior, right? And we build trust with each other by showing up, by being good at what we do, right? By meeting expectations and by being learners. So in the Air Force, we never stopped learning. We literally had vaults where we would go to study enemy capabilities all the time, every day. If there was spare time, we weren't at the gym. We were in the vault unless we were at the bar, right? So those were the three places.
Those were the options.
3 places you would end up if you weren't in the cockpit or at home. And showing up in all those places as a fighter pilot was a way to build trust with your teammates, really in all 3 ways, by taking care of yourself, by playing as hard as you worked, by studying and learning, and then being reliable in the jobs that you were given. So I think all those elements apply to any leader and to any organization or any team. It starts with trust.
And someone that chooses to work with you, I know obviously they have to trust you with knowledge of them personally, professionally, their businesses, the behind the scenes. So I know that that's a big part of it too. I was thinking about the amount of, I don't want to say energy that goes into coaching, but it's kind of that too. I know that when I am about to have a coaching session, I have to be fully present, have tons of energy, and be able to give it my best, really be strategic in every question that I ask, how I approach things. And so there was a period of time I had a ton of coaching clients, and it was too much for me because it was almost draining at that point, because I didn't feel like I had enough to give. And I don't know if you've experienced that too, but I actually had to pull back on the number of coaching clients that I had so I could zoom in and go deeper with a few rather than feeling like I couldn't give them all my best. And so I was thinking about the importance of slowing down and really getting to know them at such a deep level in order to coach them effectively, and how we're kind of modeling that too for those leaders that need to slow down and get to know their people that they're working alongside and how they can best support those that they're leading. I was just kind of thinking about the parallel between the two. Have you had that experience as well?
Yeah, earlier today, actually.
Okay, tell me more.
It's fresh. That the trust is what builds a safe space for people, to be together, to feel productive, and that building that safe space as a coach does take a lot of energy, right? Because you're providing confidentiality. You're hearing sometimes some really challenging things from your clients as a coach, and you want them to feel like they can share it all, right? And in doing that, you're trying to receive it without any judgment, right? And just take it for what it is, and mirror back some of that transparency and that trust from the client. So, yeah, I've had that same experience of sometimes feeling depleted, honestly, because it's work from the client, like I was saying earlier, right? The work on progress on change is the client's, but the work in our session is definitely shared by the coach, right? And it occurred today in a session I was having with a federal employee who's been furloughed, who has no idea when he's getting his next paycheck, but now is also wondering, well, what should he do with the rest of his life? Does he go back if he's brought back? Does he want to go back? What does that mean for his family and close friends? Where does he find purpose again if he gives that up? And I wasn't really prepared for everything that he shared with me. So that was a lot. It felt great, afterwards, and he appreciated the safety that I had given him. But as he left kind of with a new bounce in his step, I hung up the Zoom call, feeling like I'd been to the gym lifting weights for him.
Yes, then you totally get it. We're on the same page. That is exactly, yes, because I feel like I carry the weight of their challenges. So if they're going through something, I don't know, I physically feel it. Just hearing about that,
right,
like that made my chest tight. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that must have been very difficult for both of you. Like that coming out and you not expecting it, and him having to face some of these really big decisions that impact him and everybody around him. And so, I know exactly what you mean. They feel light and free, and I have more clarity as to what I'm going to do. And I'm like, I hang up the Zoom and I go,
and it's a privilege to be able to feel exhausted after creating that space. But it's work. It's definitely a partnership. Coaching is a partnership.
So obviously you're certified to do so. You made the transition. You're certified to be a coach, and everybody's journey to certification is different, and some never get certified. And so as we're talking about coaching and the work that it takes and how intentional you have to be in it, I'm curious, I'm totally throwing things at you that you weren't expecting right now. As you went through the learning associated with ICF certification, for example, what stood out to you as something that maybe you didn't expect about coaching? Something that you didn't really, you knew you wanted to be a coach, but you didn't know it would involve this, or that you would have to approach things in this way. Was there anything that stood out?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm sure you know this or you've heard this from people, but the term coach is misleading. Right? In fact, I'm wearing socks. I don't know if you can see it on the podcast.
Kick them up. Put them up in the air.
These were a gift from some friends when I finished my doctorate earlier this year. And the words on the socks are "awesome coach," but the words come with whistles.
Oh, yeah.
Because all of us know sports coaches. Most of us don't know leadership coaches.
Yeah.
We don't know the difference, right?
Yeah.
And these are very dear friends who know I'm not a sports coach, but maybe they're the only socks they could find on Amazon that day. But as leadership coaches, we're definitely not using whistles, right? And I think the surprising thing for me when I was being trained and certified as a coach is that I really had to practice not letting my coaching ever be about me or my own experience, right? As pilots, we love to share war stories over a beer. Anytime somebody will listen to us, and you talked about using my hands to talk. Pilots do that to show where the planes were, and we call it shooting our watches, right? And so if a client says to me, well, what would you do in this situation? Or do you have a story from, flying in the Air Force that might help me with this challenge? I am ready to go right there. But like you were saying before, it's not our time to talk, right? A coaching session is not our time to share our stories or our experience. So the surprising thing was that, this is not like coaching, whistling at kids, kicking a ball, telling them what to do. This is really about asking questions to help our clients decide if they're going to kick the ball at all, right?
Yeah.
Or which direction they want the ball to go. And that took a lot of practice for me. Did it take practice for you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I always have an opinion too. Like
Sure.
if I were in that situation, I know
And
what
it's
I would
probably,
do, but I can't say it.
The right opinion in most cases.
Well, not necessarily, but I think going along with that is just the power of questioning is what I really experienced. Like, I knew as a teacher that I was always more of a guide. I never came in and I taught the algorithm and this is how you approach this type of problem. I never approached it that way. It was, here's the problem. Now you guys work on different solutions, try out some things. Let's see if you can get there. Oh, you got there this way and you got there this way. Actually, those are algorithms. You created them yourself. Now it sticks, right? So I knew that and I could transfer that, but the line of questioning that I would use, I don't even know that I had to study it. I just think it came over time. I had another coach ask me last week after I worked with his team in Franklin, he said, how do you get them to open up to you the way that you do? You just met them and they're so comfortable. How do you? And I'm like, I actually don't know. It just happens and it's...
Especially with more and more practice, right?
Yeah. But I just think, and I've enjoyed, there are a bunch of books out there of about coaching questions. I'm going to have to pull some and I'll let you know what I'm talking about. But I like just reading a question and thinking, oh, that I feel like I could use that sometime. Like I'm going to store that one away. That's a good question. Like forcing myself to ask open-ended questions always, not the yes or no's.
Or the leading questions where we're really asking them to tell our story for us. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, one of the things I've learned in the last couple of years about that conversation and asking those questions is that sometimes the best question doesn't even have a question mark. Like a client shares something, and all I need to do is respond by saying, "Would you say more about that?" I guess that has a question mark on it.
Tell me more.
Tell me more.
I did that to
there
you
you
earlier.
Go.
Tell me more.
That's a question without a question mark, and that's completely open. Right? We're not leading them anywhere. We're kind of giving them the opportunity to ask themselves the next best question.
Yeah. What else do I need to tell?
It's simple, but it's a space most of us don't get very often in a typical day. That offer to just keep going with whatever we're thinking or feeling. So I love it.
Because it's someone slowing down
Right.
for them.
Right.
Right.
Right. And not, as a new coach, I was always connecting dots in my head, and I have opinions like you, and I see things clearly, at least, the things I see.
Mm-hmm.
I see them clearly. I don't see everything. But the dots I'm connecting are probably not the dots the client needs to connect, right? Or the dots my wife needs to connect, or my kids, or my grandkids, right? Let's share with one another this opportunity to connect our own dots, and then maybe, just cheer on that work.
Yeah.
Instead of corralling it in, and trying to force somebody to go in this direction or that, right?
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. And I was thinking about with questioning too, something I like to consider is, when we're coaching someone, we're hearing everything from their perspective. And when they're talking about situations in the workplace, we're hearing their experience, right? And I love asking questions to help them really think about how others might be seeing that same situation. And sometimes that brings awareness that it's like they thought they were telling the whole story, but they were failing to see some of the other sides.
Yeah.
So I always think that that's a fun one to explore a little bit too.
Yeah. And the other application of that is something I've started doing the last couple of years, which is suggesting to clients that they kind of try these coaching conversation techniques with other people that they work with, right?
Yeah.
Giving those other people the opportunity to connect their own dots, making them feel safe, especially if we're coaching a leader, right? With an organization that might have some drama going on, right? Which most organizations do. Leaders can learn to be coach-like with their teams in a way that builds that trust we were talking about earlier, right? It creates a safe space for the people to feel valued, and I think it delivers better bottom line results, and better, more sustainable results over the long term.
Yeah. Well, I think it makes the leader show that they really care to come alongside them and have a coaching conversation.
And to slow down.
Yeah.
Like you were saying before, right? Like the example right now of not slowing down that popped into my mind was, it's, walking into the boss's office, asking the boss if she has a few minutes, and then watching the boss try to listen to you while they're also really looking at the next email that hits their inbox, right? If that person just steps up out from behind the desk and meets the other person away from those distractions, and slows down for 5 minutes, those 5 minutes will be worth an hour of the other kind of time, right? So you slow down. We actually used to say in the airplanes, go slow to be fast, right? If you're deliberate about what you're doing, you'll actually get where you're going more easily and faster in the end.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how can we create this Wingman Life culture? So you are spending time coaching someone one-on-one. And of course, you're modeling things for them. And maybe you're even guiding them in having some of their own coaching conversations. But how does one create a culture of Wingman Life within an organization?
Yeah.
What would that look like?
I love that question. I just did a Doctor of Education dissertation on
So you have plenty to say on this.
You've read my dissertation? How did you know about this? You'd be the first one besides, well.
How many pages was it?
About 250.
Should I tackle that or the book first?
I would go with the novel.
Okay.
So coaches often talk about something called coaching culture, where really we're trying to help an organization practice coaching behaviors with one another outside these formal relationships, especially with external coaches, right? I think coaching culture, where we're respecting each other, we're listening, we're slowing down, that is Wingman Life. That's Wingman culture, right? So it's a direct parallel for me. I didn't use the words Wingman Life in my dissertation, but that's what the whole thing is about.
Did you type the whole? You could just do a find and replace.
I should.
And replace it all.
I wrote a blog about how what I meant to say in my 250-page dissertation was really this other thing over here that wouldn't have been acceptable to my dissertation.
Yeah, well, that's too bad.
Yeah, I really think coaching culture is the same thing as a healthy home life with family.
Okay.
Right, where we're slowing down, we're listening, we're paying attention, we're not telling our own war stories all the time.
This is something I need to work on.
Rabbit,
I'm feeling called out right now. Did Matt put you up to this? He's going to come over the intercom. I knew it.
I had a whole conversation before you walked in.
I told you we meet for lunch every couple of days.
Continue, sir.
Yeah, what was I talking about?
You're talking about all the problems I have.
Yeah, so many problems organizations have. I'm not talking about Sierra Learnership Collaborative, but many organizations have what we might call cultural problems, which is friction. Really, to me, in the simplest terms, it's relational friction that is keeping us from, bonding together as a team, right? And changing culture is very difficult to do, right? You can give people T-shirts, it helps. You can, have all the same coffee mugs, it helps. It feels like a team when you're sharing external things like that. But I think if you're really changing culture to make it richer in terms of the relationships in a place, you need to change behavior and elevate even the trust levels you might already have. Just treat each other a little bit better every day, as good as it all might be already. So to me, that's the wingman life, right? Never being satisfied that I've done my technical job as good as I could have, or that I've treated my colleagues as well as I should have. Every day is an opportunity to raise the bar even higher.
Yeah, I like that concept. And I really do like the idea of applying it at home too. I was joking, but also serious, because I do move at the speed of light and I'm so focused on business all the time. I couldn't make it through a meal last night without, I said, I'm not talking about business at all. And I'd start a sentence and I go, nope, can't talk about that. And then 2 minutes later, I'd start something else and nope, can't talk about that. It's like a real problem. But I don't slow down enough to be a good listener and do all the things that I typically do with clients. I don't do it at home because I feel like there's like nothing left.
Yeah, I get that.
Sierra's call sign at home is the Flash.
Not because of the flap and the one.
In my onesie. Are you calling me out on my onesie right now?
Because I could see where that might involve a flash or two. Can I talk about this movie? Do I still have time?
Yeah, you can talk about anything you want to talk about.
Right, because we're going to edit this down anyway. But last night I had the same experience, right? Because I was working on a lot of stuff, like one thing after the other all day, probably for 8 hours after being on this boondoggle we talked about earlier, right? So the work had piled up, and I was in my office focused, and my wife did this beautiful thing, and she texted me and she says, do you want to go to the movies tonight? And if so, when? So we agreed 6:15 would be a good show time for us. And she has this habit of not telling me what tickets she's buying. It's always like a surprise when we get there.
Okay.
Well, she bought tickets for the new Bruce Springsteen biopic. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, my gosh. So, you've heard of Bruce Springsteen, though.
I have. Thank you.
The boss.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
I got you.
He's kind of a big deal. My HVAC guy yesterday didn't really know who he was.
Oh, okay.
So the beautiful thing about this movie, it will connect to our conversation
I believe that.
in about 90 seconds, is that it's about kind of a relatively early phase in Springsteen's career when, he was just breaking out as a star, but still trying to find himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he records this album called Nebraska, which doesn't meet any of the expectations of his record company after the previous big hits that he'd had, right? And through the process, his manager, John Landau, right? And you got to see the movie to understand what I'm about to say, but John Landau, in this phase of the boss's life, and since then, has been like the ultimate wingman for the boss.
Okay.
I mean, it's like he's been to coaching training, right? Bruce is the client, like literally, but Bruce is also a friend, and he is just flying alongside with this other man in incredible ways at a very difficult phase of Springsteen's life. And so anyway, I had been rushing all day, working, didn't even know which movie we were going to go see. And it kind of took me 20 minutes, even after the movie started, to settle down.
Yeah. And be present for the movie.
Yeah, but it was a gift from my wife to take me. Sorry about that. Even though the car ride there was awkward because she kind of knew my head was still on fire, right?
Yeah.
But,
so how do we put the fire out?
Great story.
Right away.
Wow.
Let's figure that one out.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I had planned to ask you about is how people can take care of themselves and their family and support them in this same way while giving it their all at work, right? And I feel like one always seems to be suffering, and obviously family is most important, but they get what's left when you're focused on giving your all in the workplace. So I was just curious, your perspective. How could that fire have been put out 20 minutes sooner so you weren't awkward on the drive? Is that possible?
Yeah. Not all fires can be put out quickly, as Matt knows, because he was an actual
He was a firefighter? I had no idea he was in the fire service.
He tells me at lunch every time we're together.
You can hear him commenting out there, the grumble.
But, we need to give each other space. Sometimes and sometimes we need to ask for space to let the embers cool. Have you seen Brene Brown's new book?
No, what is it?
You've heard of Brene Brown?
Yes,
right?
I have.
It's called
And Bruce
Strong
Springsteen.
Ground, which is, great with your own brand. And so in the book, actually, one of the things she spends quite a bit of time explaining is that she and her husband have had to figure out how to give her space when she gets home, right? And, like Brene Brown often does, there's safety words involved and other things, and I don't remember all the details, but they've realized that she literally needs a certain amount of time depending on what kind of day it was. And when she gets home, she lets her husband know what that space needs to be.
Okay.
And he's, accepted that. Even though he's the kind of person, I think he's a pediatrician, right? He's been dealing with little kids and their parents all day. He's the kind of person who gets home from that and he's ready to share immediately
Mm-hmm.
what kind of day he's had. But they've come to this agreement, and they kind of put it out there for each other when they meet at the house in the evenings. So sometimes it's a fire that can be doused kind of quickly, and other times it's got to burn itself out for a little while.
You got to state how much time you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. That's helpful.
So maybe you put on a red sweater on the nights when you need more time, and a green sweater when...
He's going to say you're always wearing the red. Where's your green sweater?
Maybe yellow, right.
No, it's a good concept. I'll have to add it to my list of books to read.
Yeah. But to your point about how this might apply to clients of ours, leaders, right, who are hard charging all day and maybe dealing with some really difficult challenges, maybe right up until the last minute, right? Asking for the space they need, trusting their families, their partners at home to understand why they're asking, right? All of that helps to build a safe space where they can downshift, right? Where they can let the embers cool.
Yeah.
And it's just about honesty, probably, and trust.
Yeah. Trust, that's a good segue, actually. You just didn't know it. So today's Leadership Unscripted, I think, talked about building up trust. So I'm going to pull it out. For those listeners that have not heard a full episode before, we do a segment called Leadership Unscripted, which is a listener-submitted challenge or scenario for us to talk through. So this week, I have one. I'm going to lean into you. Can you give this person a name?
Sally?
Sally.
Yeah.
Sally says... I made a call that didn't go as planned, and it hurt my team's confidence in me. I've owned it, but things still feel tense. How do I rebuild trust and move forward? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, especially through the Wingman Life perspective, right? How can Sally rebuild trust and move forward? And it's funny because you're not going to want to give Sally advice, but you cannot coach through this podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm
Sally,
challenging you.
Are you listening? I have a question for you. Wow. Well, one of the things we haven't talked about fighter pilot life is the debrief.
Okay.
Right? So you plan a mission, you brief a mission, you fly a mission, you debrief a mission. Sometimes you debrief for longer than you were flying.
Okay.
Because there's lots to learn. You're kind of pulling apart the details, right?
That makes
especially
sense.
if there's a lot of different airplanes involved, a lot of crews, and it was a complicated mission. I think debriefing is a hugely powerful leadership technique or practice, really. It should be a practice where when things go well, you debrief and, you commend people, you congratulate people, you thank people. And when things don't go so well, you talk about what happened, why you think it happened, and how you can avoid it in the future, right? And sometimes that's talking about or giving other people on the team the opportunity to talk about their errors. And sometimes as a leader, it's talking about your own errors, right?
Yeah.
Or missteps or miscalculations or whatever it might have been. So I would like to say to Sally that I love that she has already talked with her team.
She's owned it.
Well, yeah. So maybe just looking at that word choice, I might ask Sally, have you owned it personally and privately, or have you owned it publicly.
Yeah.
In the sense of debriefing it with your team. And even if you have owned it publicly, if there's still some tension, one way to move forward and build more of that trust for the future is to slow down even more and own it more publicly, perhaps, and get feedback about how you're owning it, and ask others what they have to say about what happened and how things could go better in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. I would agree with that. And I would add on to that even like the question of how can we move forward together? You know what I mean?
Right.
And getting the feedback from different people, because the answer might not be the same for everyone. Some people might trust more quickly again, and others it might take time, and they're clear in what they need to see. They might need to see, her showing up in the small things consistently for a while, right? Or slowing down and really coming alongside them and supporting them in a different way for a while. I feel like it could be different based on each person.
Yeah, and it's a team sport, right? So sometimes as a leader, the solution is not for me to own it, even if it was my mistake. It could be better for me to share ownership of that with the team and say, how can we all collaborate better in the future to help me not make that same mistake again, right? And in a debrief after flying a sortie in the Air Force, the practice was you shut the door, the rank on our uniforms no longer matters once the door's shut. We're all respectful to each other, but the most junior person in the room gets to say what they thought about the mission, right?
Okay.
And gets to provide feedback to the most senior person in the room. And actually sometimes the most senior person in the room is the one who gets scheduled to fly in the wingman position. And the junior person might actually be in charge.
Yeah. Okay.
But everybody in the room sits at the table with the door shut to learn from everybody else in the room. And I think it might be an opportunity for Sally to have a debrief, maybe even use the word, introduce it as a new practice.
Yeah. And then share her learning from it.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
This is what I've learned from this experience and what I plan to do differently in the future.
And revisit it, right? If it's something that really shook the team's confidence and threw her off her game, it's probably worthy of being revisited multiple times.
Yeah.
Put it into the bigger context. Talk to the team about how addressing this issue can help us all perform better overall in the future. But don't leave this learning opportunity just sitting there on the table.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be wasted pain and tension. Take advantage of it.
I like the idea of using it as the opportunity to institute a new debrief practice. So it's like, I've obviously learned from this experience, and moving forward, I think we should spend time debriefing on things, right? What a great opportunity to start that practice together. I think that would really show how Sally has continued to reflect and, is really there for the feedback, even if it's difficult to hear.
Yeah, and you can debrief without wearing flight suit onesies.
No.
It's something anybody can do.
Good to know. Well, hopefully that's helpful, Sally. All right, so I have a couple more questions, and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to add anything you really wanted to share, but you didn't get the chance to. Okay. So I, in season 2, have been asking everyone to share someone who has just stood out to them as an effective leader. Exactly, who is it, whether you know them personally or maybe you've never met them, what stood out about their leadership and made it appear truly effective to you. I'd love to hear who you have in mind.
Yeah. Let me think.
Take your time.
I know some. I haven't known her too long, but her name is Sarah Collins.
Oh, you cannot.
And I'm going to do this because it's only been about a month, right, since the inaugural first ever Tri-State Leadership Summit.
It's true. It's true.
And what I loved about that was, just the whole concept of bringing people together across the region to learn together, to find new wingmen, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think that was in the publicity materials, but
Yeah.
I felt like,
it was an underlying theme. Right? Yeah.
To find partners in learning, perhaps colleagues for future business initiatives, but to sit there for an entire day with other people that were committed to being better, right? And so that describes the summit, but the summit happened because of this leader I know named Sarah Collins, who had this vision for creating this safe space, not just for one client at a time, but for a theater full of people, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this thing called the momentum package. And,
it's still going on. We
right?
just had a session today.
Yeah.
Today was the
so you know
November
how powerful
Aspire
this
to
was.
Achieve.
So you might have heard about it.
Yeah, I know about it.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
But
Thanks for bringing
I know it took a lot of work to put it together. I mean, there were gift bags and bling and and that sounds silly, but it was a complete package, right? Matt, the firefighter, was involved in a big way. I mean, it's impressive.
I think he likes to go by producer around here.
I was just in San Diego for the 30th anniversary of the International Coaching Federation.
Yeah.
And I hope to be in Hagerstown for the 30th Tri-State Leadership Summit.
Yeah. Let's make it happen.
In 2055.
That sounds good.
Thanks
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you for highlighting that. And since you did that, I'm going to do it in the reverse because we had just met. You found out about the Tri-State Leadership Summit and you immediately wanted to get involved. And to me, it's that collaboration over competition mindset. And there are plenty of people who would have seen it as, oh, she does what I do. I don't want to get involved with that. But instead, you immediately wanted to support what I was doing. You constantly asked, how can I help you? How can I be a support right away? So I appreciate that about you because I was very overwhelmed by the entire thing. It was a lot of work. And just knowing I had you in my corner was a huge support.
Yeah,
So,
well, it was a huge success. And I know you had partners working with you on stage and behind the scenes, but great job. And I was privileged to be a part of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, thank you. Will the coins arrive?
Oh
We
my
haven't
gosh.
talked about the coins. Where are the coins?
So I didn't read the whole email before I left the house today to come here, but I did finally get an email that said, yes, your coins are done.
Okay.
And so these are challenge coins, which is a military tradition, right?
Yeah.
Everybody in a squadron will get the same coin, and it's part of the culture, like we were talking about before.
Yeah.
They're called challenge coins because if you're out and you run into a squadron mate, that person can challenge you to show your coin, and if you don't have your coin with you, you must buy the next round. So it's a great tradition, and I designed a coin for my business way back in June.
Yeah.
And, much like the shirts I recently bought,
Which is a whole nother story.
my design didn't
Yeah.
turn out quite right the first few times. I have not seen proof that the coins are actually perfectly done yet.
Okay.
So,
But you will accept nothing less than
it's gotta be
exceptional
perfect,
product.
right?
Yes.
I mean, maybe not perfect, but exceptional. What a great word. Yeah. I have a prototype in my pocket. I can't give it to you because it's embarrassing because there's errors on it, but you will get one.
There's a prototype in your pocket?
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. But, I'm going to ask for video proof that this final production coin is perfect before I pay the balance on the bill.
How many did you order?
I have 100 in the first order. Yeah, I want to give them to my clients as a
That's
way
a lot.
of telling them, I hope that we'll be wingmen forever.
That's super cool. I love it.
And for the opportunity to maybe drink for free.
That's awesome. No, I love the concept. It's really cool. Thanks for the update. I didn't know if the
Thanks for
saga
asking. It
continued.
just happened. Yeah. I think the coins are in Virginia, actually,
Oh, really?
waiting for my approval.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got
Getting close.
Yeah.
All right. Keep me updated. All right. Before we go into the branching out challenge.
There's more.
Yeah. We didn't talk about your novel, and I want to give you the
wow.
opportunity to share a little bit about that. And I wish I could speak knowledgeably about it, but I failed you. I purchased it, and it's sitting on my desk at home, and I said, I can't start it until after the summit. And here we are a month later, and you know my life. It has been overwhelming, and I dream of the last 2 weeks of December so I can sit in a onesie and drink hot chocolate and read your book. So I'm going to lean on you to share a little bit about your novel.
Thanks for asking. Yeah. So it's semi-autobiographical, and it's the story of a young guy at seminary, actually, who goes through a crisis of faith because of something that happens to his father. The true parts, I guess, of the book are that I did go to seminary, and I had an amazing father who's exactly the father in the book, except that the timing of what happened to him was different than the way I put it into the story.
Okay.
And he survived the accident and was fine afterwards. But in the book, it turns out not so well.
Okay.
Right? In order to
don't give it away.
create this challenge for the family. So what I loved about writing it was that it became a gift that I gave to my parents before they passed. They both loved the story. And my father was actually very surprised at a lot of the details that I included in the story about the father and his career as a police officer and his relationship with the kids and the family, because I had some things in there that he didn't remember telling me about. So it was fun to write a book that I could hand to them as a gift in that way. But I still resonate with the story because I think so many of us, including myself, struggle maybe a little bit every day or more than a little bit some days to just feel like we're on track or that we're, headed in the right direction. And so I hope, when you read it, you'll see the goodness on the other side of that struggle for yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Try
By
not
the
to give
way,
away the story.
it's called Frames of Reference. You
Yeah.
never said the title.
Yeah,
That's kind of
thanks.
important. Where can people find it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to promote your book. Come on. The name and where they can find it.
Yeah, they can go on Amazon actually and find it there or on my website, which is wingmanexecutivecoaching.com.
Perfect.
Yeah. But it was a fun thing to do. I love writing and being creative and so when people in a coaching session say, "Can't you tell me a story?" I'm like, "Yes, I could." As soon as the session's over, if you have more time.
Yeah. There you go. That's awesome. Do you have any more books in you coming up?
Yeah, actually, I have another novel I started. Totally different. First one has no fighter pilots in it. The second one might.
Okay.
And I've almost finished a book on leadership, which I think might be relevant to a lot of people. The title of that, I'll just let you go with what it sounds like it might be about.
Okay.
The title is Less is More.
Mm.
From a leadership perspective.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
you can guess maybe.
I can.
what
I'm
the-
excited
what that
for
might
this.
Be about.
Yeah. Okay,
Right?
like
Slow down even.
mhm.
We've talked about less is more for the
Yeah.
whole time. Since
We have.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can we get a timeline on this book? You're not
I would like it
committing.
done in the next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I look forward to it
Yeah. Thanks.
because I am going to be setting aside more time for reading in my
Yeah. I
in
have
the
some
future.
great books back here on this
Yeah, you'll have to.
bookshelf. Yeah.
Did you see this? Some people make fun of me for it, but I think it's pretty cool. It's apple
think
crates put
yeah.
together to hold my books, but also be a coffee table.
In Winchester, which is like the home of the apple.
Apple capital of the world. It was at one point.
Right.
I still claim it.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. All right. Was there anything that you wanted to share
Oh.
today that you didn't get the opportunity to share before I ask you to challenge our listeners?
Yeah. I don't think so. We covered a lot of ground.
We did. I appreciate it.
Felt like
It's
we
been
had
awesome.
a tailwind.
I think it was a great conversation. So I'm curious, based on our conversation today, what do you want to challenge our listeners to do? What is one action they could take? One
Yeah.
question they could reflect upon?
Yeah. So we've used the phrase a few times, flying alongside others, right? We do that as coaches. I would challenge people, whether they've ever even imagined being a pilot for a second or not,
Mm-hmm.
to just slow down and ask themselves, what would it look like if I did more of that for the people in my life? If I flew alongside them? And, maybe told fewer stories, asked more questions, did more listening.
It's a great challenge.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. I'll take that one too.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you so much, Rabbit. We
Yeah.
didn't talk about why you were called Rabbit.
That's a story for another day.
Okay, we can do that. That means you have to come back.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Are you willing? Was it too painful?
I already said I'll be here for the 30th.
Okay. I'm holding you to that. That's awesome.
That was great. Thank you for being such a gracious host
Yeah.
and such a great asset to the tri-state,
Oh,
however you choose to define that.
yeah. Well, now it's the Quad
Right.
State. I just don't want to
Oh,
change
we're
the name of the
changing it?
event. We're not changing the name of the event. I'm just saying there were 4 states present.
Right, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Excited to work with you more in 2026 and do some
awesome.
of our own collaborating together. I've got ideas. I'm not going to put you on the spot while we're recording, but I've got ideas. And that's dangerous, by the way. Sometimes when I say that,
That's awesome.
people
it's exciting.
people run.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, listeners, for sticking through to the end of the episode. I hope you found value and that you will share it with others in your life that could benefit from hearing more about the Wingman Life. And definitely take a look at Eric's new website is amazing. What was it again?
WingmanExecutiveCoaching.com.
wingmanexecutivecoaching.com. Check it out. It's very well done. Nice work. But I want to remind you guys, if you have not subscribed to this podcast, you can get those notifications every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time, so you don't have to remember to find us. It will pop up and notify you. We would love to hear from you if you have challenges, questions that you'd like us to feature in Leadership Unscripted. You can shoot us an email at info@branchingoutpodcast.com. And if you'd like to be a guest, you can head over to branchingoutpodcast.com and submit an application. Love to hear your ideas for topics, things that would benefit you and those around you. Thank you so much for listening today, and until next time, keep branching out.